December in London. The cold wind and rain blow against the windows of a fine row of houses that line London's Vauxhall Walk. Alone on the street stands one man, houseless, homeless, hopeless. Many a one who had before him trodden that same street must have uttered the same words, the weary, the desolate, the forsaken. Waifs and strays of struggling humanity coming and going, starving and miserable, over the pavements of Lambeth Parish. But it is open to question whether these words were ever previously spoken with more thorough self-pity than by the young man who hurried along that rainy winter's night. Although he wore no hat on his head, he was a gentleman of some, if modest, means.
Can I help you, sir?
Good evening, my good man. Might I inquire if you have a room to rent?
You might inquire, Governor, but we'll do you no good. We're all full up here, I'm afraid.
It need not be anything fancy. I'm only recently back from the Navy. A rough place is fine for me. I'll sleep in a tavern tonight if you've nothing else.
Sorry, sir. What with the weather and the time of night, even that's full. Wish I could say otherwise. Maybe the King's Head on the next corner. You might have more luck there.
No, Graham Colton was not a poor man, nor did he appear to have sunk in the good graces of fortune. His boots were not worn at the heels, and his clothes were good. His face was not pinched with famine, nor brutalized by drink and debauchery. No, it was not money problems that clouded his mind. It was something far more consequential than that. Still, it was certainly not an evening to be abroad without shelter. Yet this was the position of the young gentleman who, without a hat, strode along Vauxhall Walk, the rain beating on his unprotected head. Graham walked on quickly, as fast as if some terrible memory was spurring him on. But memory of what? So fast was he walking that the woman coming up behind him had some trouble overtaking him.
Master Graham! Master Graham!
Who are you that know me?
It's me, Molly, sir. Do you remember Molly, Master Graham? I am the Tynans family housekeeper.
Ah, so you are, Molly. So you are. But what in blazes are you doing out alone in a cold and windy night such as this?
I could well ask you a similar question, sir. And you without your hat?
I lost it during a conversation with my father in Cornwall.
Then why don't you buy another, sir? You'll catch your death of cold. And besides, sir, if you'll excuse me for saying, it does look rather odd.
I realise that, but tonight I care not a tuppence for the world's sartorial opinion. My father...
Have you and the squire, then?
Had a quarrel, yes. The kindest way to present it might be to say that my father and I had words.
But why, sir? Begging your pardon my asking, but you and my Master Tynan having shipped together in the French War, you were like family, so to speak.
I understand, Molly, and I do feel like family, you may be sure. As I said, the squire and I had words.
Aye, words indeed. The squire. Oh yes, Squire Ennismore. But what sort of man was Graham's father, after all? Discharged from the Navy, Graham had gone to visit his father last September. Squire Ennismore lived in a house along the coast of Cornwall in southwest England, at the end of a winding path, isolated and far away from the nearest desolate village, a place where the wind blew wild and the sea cascaded ferociously against the rocks. The house stood behind a belt of Scotch firs, and a fine house it was. But all was not well in that house, not by a long shot. Nor were all things well with the squire. From inside could be heard awful noises, echoing from the top of the grand staircase down to the great hall. A crowd of people clinking their glasses and talking all together at once. There would come screeches and howls and laughing, fit to make your blood run cold.
Come in if you could. Standing in the doorway just lets the cold wind in.
Oh, set your head down on the table and join the fun.
Graham stood in the corner, hat in hand. The former ship's surgeon watched the gathering, which seemed to him like Milton's pandemonium. Distressed and downhearted, he was unable to control the chaos that surrounded him. For despite all his efforts, it proved impossible to rein in those involved in the confusion that surrounded his father.
Another glass! Another glass! By all means, a toast, I say, to our noble host.
Father, please, surely you have had enough.
Enough! I merely share my hospitality. You would not have me shirk a duty as sacred as hospitality, would you?
Certainly not, but do not confuse vulgarity and excess with sacred hospitality. You venture beyond the bounds of a gentleman.
How dare you say that? I may be getting on in years, but on horseback I can hold myself as upright as ever, and ride as hard as the youngest.
'Tis not your equestrian skills that concern me, sir. 'Tis your drinking. Be careful lest you disgrace yourself and your good name.
Good name? Why, I can drink this whole roomful under the table and walk to bed at night as unconcerned as you please.
He speaks the truth, he does, the Lord's own truth. Well, maybe not the Lord's truth, but some matter of truth at that.
And truth it is!
So tell us, Squire, if you will, how is it that a man of your years can still stand toe-to-toe with the youngest, strong, with fine, fresh colour in your face, and eyes like a hawk's? There is not a stoop in your back, nor a break in your voice, and you near upon 70.
That's my secret, me laddies. A secret ye shall never ken.
As I said, the squire and I had words, a quarrel serious enough to last all our lives.
And where are you going now?
Going? Why, nowhere, since at this late hour and in such weather I cannot find a vacant room in all of London. And so I seek out the softest paving stone, or the shelter of a damp alley. There I can lay my head and try to sleep until morning.
Oh, you mustn't do that. Will you not come back with me, Master Graham? Your old friend Mr. Tynan has a house just over yonder. We're at the last of our moving out, so the family's all gone, but there is a spark of fire still in the grate, and 'twould be better than walking in this rain. Will you come, sir?
Come? Of course I will come, if it is no trouble.
They walked together along Vauxhall Walk until they reached and entered an old house with a wide hall, oak floorings and mahogany doors. Molly led Graham into a spacious apartment occupying the full width of the house on the first floor. The furnishings spoke mutely of the wealth and stability of the original owners long ago.
Set yourself here. 'Twill break my master's heart for you to sleep in those cold streets with his house so nearby, as long as the house itself disturbs you not.
Disturb me? Not likely that. Truly, I shall be thankful to lie here. I feel dead tired.
Then stay, Master Graham, and welcome. I'll use this basket of coals to make him a good fire, I will.
Thank you kindly, Molly. This is a wonderful old house. I can almost feel the warmth and hospitality of all the generations who lived here in days gone by.
Yes, it's a fine old house at that. Now you make yourself at home. There's a little that you'd call fancy in the kitchen, but you'll find enough in the pantry to serve as a dinner. And here's a blanket to throw over yourself to keep out the draught.
You are most kind. And wherever did Brand come by this enormous mirror? For the life of me, I do not think I've ever seen one as large, neither in hall nor palace, not in any port on the seven seas.
That mirror? It's an old family heirloom. So old no one knows when it first came here.
A fine piece. I have never visited this house, though for a long time I have seen it in my mind's eye. Brand often described it to me. Nothing like life at sea to turn a man's thoughts to life on shore. Many was the night we shared a watch, and he talked of home.
No doubt he spoke of it often. I, for one, am sorry to leave it, but the house, like many a good family, has come down in the world.
But the family moves out. Does my old shipmate prepare to lease it?
If only he could, but he's had no luck in that regard.
No luck? But why? Surely there is nothing seriously wrong with the place.
Oh, it's nothing like that. It's something stranger still, and more difficult to remedy.
And what might that be?
Word has gone around town that it's haunted.
Haunted? But that is impossible. By whom? What happened?
I hesitate to say anything for fear of upsetting you, and I know you have nowhere else to sleep, but a murder was done here, and people have remained shy of the house ever since.
A murder? What sort of a murder?
Miss Lydia Tynan, my master's great-aunt. She lived here all alone and was supposed to have a great deal of money, and then one night she was found stabbed to death.
How awful!
And if there ever was any money, it must have been taken at the time, for none ever was found in the house from that day to this.
And this is the reason your master will not stay here?
In point of fact, he blames his wife, sir. Mistress Prudence would have us move away, nothing else will serve her. At least, that is the way Master Tynan tells it.
He does he? I wonder if it is really he who feels uncomfortable here.
And isn't that the truth? For as much as Master Tynan casts the missus as superstitious, it is him for certain who looks amiss at a spilled salt or a black cat.
He was ever like that on board ship as well. Now, I admit that sailors as a whole are a superstitious lot. That is an established fact. But Brand, why, he was worse than any of the crew. And why does the ghost haunt you as well?
Me? Not a chance. She never comes my way. Hard day's work tires me out, and I always fall asleep the minute my head touches the pillow.
Were not the murderers ever discovered?
No, sir, they never were. For the most part, Master Tynan's worried about my young lady Mary. She's away at finishing school, staying with her cousins, but she's a serious one. She feels she must marry money to help the family out.
Surely her father will not permit that.
Nope, good Mr. Tynan would never allow it. But young people can have minds of their own. When they take it into their heads to do something, it can prove mighty work preventing them.
We must ensure that nothing like that happens.
Aye, but how?
If only we could find out why the spirit remains here. Perhaps we might free her. Then Brand could lease the house and maintain the family.
Now, wouldn't that be a fine piece of work, for all parties concerned?
But a ghost, really? Am I likely to see it?
I should not worry your mind about that, Mr. Colton. Best now that you rest yourself.
Yes, better here on this couch than on the cold, rainy street at any rate.
And you must not worry yourself about anything.
Indeed I shall not. Tired as I am, it is straight to sleep I am going after a bit of bread and cheese.
But here comes my lady after all.
Good evening, Molly. When you were so long returning home, I thought I would come to see if you needed help. But whom do you have inside?
I need no help, Mom, but here's someone who does.
Why, Graham Colton, you old sea dog. I know I ought not to say that, but that is the way Brand refers to you when we talk about you, which is often, I confess, and I have caught the habit from him.
Sea dog is a fine appellation, Prudence, my dear. Come here and give us a hug. It is wonderful to see you again.
Oh, and you too.
He was just wandering the street, searching for a warm bed and a bite of supper.
It was a great piece of good luck that Molly found me tonight. A great piece of luck indeed.
I'm so glad she did. We have long hoped you would visit, and you will make yourself comfortable here. There is food in the larder.
Yes, Molly told me. The house feels snug and warm. I am sure the kitchen fare will more than satisfy an old sailor's needs.
I am delighted. And I can promise you Bran's company tomorrow. You must join us for lunch.
Of course. I look forward to seeing him after all this time. But tell me, how is the family?
The little ones are growing and the oldest is grown.
That is the way of the world, is it not? I remember Mary when she was your only child, and now she leads the pack.
But speaking of parents and children, I'm afraid that Master Graham has had words with the old squire.
Now, Molly, you must not gossip.
Still, it is the truth. Not for the first time, though perhaps for the last.
But what did you and the squire disagree about, if I may be so bold as to ask? Surely it was not your refusing to enter politics and run for the county seat.
Oh, Parliament. That was ever his dream, and ever a sore point between the squire and myself. When I joined the Navy, I told him I wanted no part of it. I longed to establish my own medical practice, as you know. Anyway, our argument was a far sight worse than that, I can tell you.
You grow so serious.
I am. There is the health of the body and the health of the soul, and none can prosper who suffer damage to either.
Surely that is not the case.
Maybe not, Prudence, maybe not. But for the life of me, I cannot be sure.
A stormy October night. Drunken carousing and card playing at Squire Ennismore's great hall. Graham tried his best to draw his father away from the vulgar group, with little success.
Come, father, let us move to your library. I can tell you about this medical case I am consulting on. It is quite out of the ordinary, I assure you.
Now, leave me be, Graham. I'm a sight more likely to enjoy a good laugh and a joke out here with my friends than in that stuffy old library with you.
If the great hall was warm and dry, outside a terrible gale raged. Old-timers called it the worst ever known on the Cornwall coast. Such blowing and sleeting had not been experienced in the memory of man. During that boisterous night, a foreign trading vessel went to bits on the purple headland. Awful it was to hear the mournful cries of the drowning men as they struggled against the tumultuous seas. Their screams rose up high above the noise of the wind. Suddenly,
Everyone, come quick! A ship, it is lost, I tell you! A ship breaking up! Now there is a wondrous gift. A merchantman! Lost! Lost! So you said. Well, tomorrow we must go and see what we can scavenge.
Scavenge? But we must go help. It is a long shot, but we might save lives.
The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away, as they say.
But the Lord also helps those who help himself. Aye, and that is going to be me, it is. I plan to help myself to whatever washes ashore from that ship, with the squire's permission, of course. Not if I get there first.
But the ship? What of the men who sailed it?
Sailors be damned.
Not on my watch. I will do my best to save any wretch I can.
Kindness there may be in rescuing the drowning, but little profit. He speaks the truth. Rescuing a naval officer earns you nothing but his thanks, while rescuing a crate of goods from a merchantman earns you enough for a month's worth of drinking.
But father, can you stand by and tolerate this? You will not allow these rascals to let those poor men drown?
I prefer not to interfere with the divine plan.
For shame, sir, for shame.
We must hurry if we're to save anyone. There's no time to be lost.
Let's get on with it then. Now, where is my hat?
Here you go. You'll want it in this weather.
Right you are, my friend. Come along then. Lead the way.
Graham and a few villagers hastened to the beach and worked through the night to save those men whom they could. But in spite of their efforts, many a brave man perished. That night, After Prudence and Molly had gone, Graham settled down to sleep, lying on the settle with the fire burning out. He dreamed a curious dream. He awoke from deep slumber to find a fire smouldering away upon the hearth, and the enormous mirror at the end of the apartment reflecting fitful gleams of light. He could not understand it, but suddenly he beheld the outline of a female figure seated beside the fire, her clothes poor and ragged, a cap barely covering her scant white hair, her cheeks sunken.
But what is this? Can it be true? Who goes there?
No answer came. Graham watched the woman carefully and saw her engaged in the strangest task, picking up golden coins from a pile of money in her lap and dropping them with a despairing gesture.
Oh, my lost life!
Graham held his breath in terror as he watched her lifting and dropping the golden sovereigns carelessly in a singular and meaningless manner.
Oh, my lost life! For one day, for 1 hour of it again.
But hold hard, who else is here?
Out of the darkness, from the corner of the room where the shadows lay deepest, came the old men. Then from the gloom, abiding near the door, stepped the young children. Finally, from the dreary night, came the impoverished women. All these souls had weary hearts, hearts whose misery in life Aunt Lydia Tynan's gold might have relieved, but whose wretchedness it mocked.
Can you spare a penny, ma'am?
Just a penny to buy some bread. A penny? Why, no.
The poor closed about her in death as they had done in life. They prayed, they sobbed, they entreated. With haggard eyes, the ghost of Lydia Tynan regarded the wretches whom she had repulsed, the children against whose cries she had closed her ears.
These people! Do I wake or dream?
They crowded around the miser. All those pale, sad shapes, honest poverty, repentant vice. But one low cry proceeded from the old woman's pale lips, a cry for help which it might have given, but instead withheld.
Oh, my lost life.
Oh, won't you please give something to my little ones? Look here, they're nothing but skin and bones.
We ask no charity, miss. I'll do whatever work you want, any task. I'm quite handy, I am.
No, nothing.
The people she had suffered to starve and die for want, whom she might have helped by giving the smallest coin or the merest trifle. Then, with a mournful cry, she raised her lean arms above her head and sank down, down, down. The gold scattering as it fell out of her lap and rolling on the floor until its gleam was lost in the outer darkness beyond.
Oh, my lost life.
Graham awoke disconcerted. Perspiration oozed from every pore. Such fear and agony as he had never felt.
1 minute.
Breakfast, sir. I hope you slept well. Have you a good night's rest?
Why, Faith, I was somewhat in the case of the man who could not sleep for dreaming. I slept well enough, I suppose, but whether it was in consequence of the row with the squire, or the hard bed, or the cheese, most likely the bread and cheese so late at night, I dreamt all the night long, the most extraordinary dreams. Some old woman kept cropping up.
The house has a dark history, as I suggested last yesterday.
Hello, Graham.
His former shipmate, Bran Tynan, appeared at the door of the house. The two old friends broke the day's fast together, as they had done so many times before, delighted to see each other again.
Welcome back to London, my old friend. I cannot say how delighted I was to learn that Molly had found you on Vauxhall Walk.
Yes, it was a rainy night, and I was not looking forward to sleeping in the corner of a wet alley.
Not only that, but it had been almost 2 years since I have seen you. I thought you would have been home by now. Open your practice. Live the life of a gentleman.
You know how life goes at sea. Plans change, but at least now here I am in London, and the practice remains my plan. You and Prudence are getting on well?
Oh, yes. She is the soul of my soul. But where have you been keeping yourself?
I left my ship in Portsmouth nigh 3 months ago. After all those years away, I thought it was time that I took myself to visit the Squire. I have been residing with him ever since. Until now.
The Squire? And how is the old bird?
In truth, I cannot tell.
The day after the storm came the sunrise. Looking left, over Ardwinsag Bay, with its bluish-green water, lies a low ridge of sand. The other way, the purple headland. And straight ahead, a long range of breakers that project directly out into the Atlantic till they disappear from sight. Here and there, water breaks over some sunken rocks, to the peril of all mariners. The town's villagers gathered along the shore to see it strewn with corpses of all sorts and sizes, from the little cabin boy to the grizzled seaman. The wreckers gathered up what little they could find that the sea had not ruined, crates and barrels of merchant goods.
See here, Jonathan, here's a bit of booty that should cheer the heart.
Yes, and look here, another bit of something we can take to town and sell for a pot of rum.
Good morning, Squire.
Good morning, Jonathan.
Good for us, of course, not so good for these poor blighters.
That I can see. And what have you found?
The squire surveyed the beach, a look of disappointment crossing his face.
So little profit. But say, what is that?
Where, sir?
Floating in the water, a short distance from the shore, they saw a great barrel, a puncheon of brandy. The enormous wooden barrel bobbed in the waves, undamaged by the storm.
Well, there is something at last that catches my fancy. Bring it here, men, and tonight we shall all share a drink from it. Drink up, me laddies, drink up!
With pleasure, Squire. For better liquor than this I've never tasted.
Nor I. Most wonderful.
And wonderful it was. And thereafter commenced a period of great gatherings at the squire's house. The gentry came from far and near to take part, and it was cards and dice and drinking and storytelling, night after night, week in, week out. Even on Sundays, heaven forgive them. People drove over from far and wide, and all sat emptying tumbler after tumbler from sunset until morning, for the rum made beautiful punch, and, to pass the time, friendly games of chance occupied the guests, though not everyone was pleased with the way their luck turned out.
Read 'em and weep, gentlemen. Read 'em and weep. Nobody has a hand of cards to beat mine, I wager.
Not me, that is certain. But then no one's had a hand to beat yours for many a day now.
Aye, that's the truth. Your luck has been extraordinary, Squire. Truly extraordinary.
Luck or magic? With respect, your honour, ever since that liquor washed ashore, you have not lost a wager. Not at cards, at dice, at billiards. It is amazing.
My luck has turned, and that's for certain. From bad to worse in days gone by, to better and best in days to come.
But despite what the squire might say, the neighbours felt otherwise. After a time, people quit coming to that desolate house on the top of the sea bluffs. Word went round that the liquor was not all it ought to be, or perhaps it was more than it should be, who can say? For one thing, they were losing money fast. They could not make head against the squire's luck, and cursed the day that puncheon of liquor had washed up on the shore. In time, Most felt that instead of being found, that great barrel ought to have been towed out to sea and sunk in 50 fathoms of water. Would that it had.
The squire ever was a strange old bird, but tell me, what is this I hear from Molly about you leaving this wondrous house?
Oh, it's my wife's fancy. As she says, not to like it.
But why?
Oh, Prudence is a very superstitious woman.
Is that so?
Frightfully so. She says she feels desolate when all alone here at night, with only the children.
Oh, she does she? Well, I can understand why.
You can? Have you any reason for that understanding?
Well, as a matter of fact, Brand, last night I had the strangest dream.
A dream?
Aye, only to realise that it was no true dream at all. More like a vision.
A vision? Of what? What did you see?
It was passing strange, I must admit. I saw an old woman sitting in that chair over there. She had a pile of gold in her lap, and she was counting coins and moaning something pitiful.
You don't say.
Aye, and then the others came.
The others?
Yes, ragged children and poor workers, hungry beggars without shoes on their feet. They asked her for a coin to feed their families.
And did she give them anything?
Not a shilling.
She never does.
After listening quietly at the door to their conversation, Brand's wife Prudence now entered the room.
Oh, Prudence, my dear, you caught us quite off guard.
I am sorry. I did not mean to surprise you.
Good morning, Prudence.
And you too, Graham?
My dear friend here has just been telling me how you are so afraid of the house that you must move away. How superstitious you are.
How superstitious I am?
Well...
Those are his very words.
I did not mean superstitious in a critical way, my dear. More like synonymous with cautious.
I see. Because I have seen the ghost.
You have?
Of course. On more than one occasion.
And you, Brand? Have you also seen her?
Me? Well, no. You see...
Brand has not seen her because as soon as he hears her, he finds some reason to run off. Some errand in another part of the house that simply cannot be delayed another instant.
Oh, my dear. You know it is nothing like that.
To tell the truth, when it comes to staying in this house, my brave husband can stand it no longer.
Oh, now really?
He is more nervous than I would ever have believed possible.
Now, please do not exaggerate, my dear. I'm only a bit, careful.
He says he's heard footsteps and voices, and that when he walks through the hall or up the staircase, someone always seems to be following him.
No sensible man takes unnecessary risks, especially not a man with a family to consider. But let me tell you, Prudence has seen Aunt Lydia often, so often she has no fear of the ghosts.
Is that the truth?
It is. In fact, I feel rather sorry for her. Some nights I share the fireside with her, doing my needlework beside the old woman, keeping her company.
Astounding.
And do not for one moment think that I approve.
And do you feel that you know her?
If stories are to be believed, she is a spirit of my great Aunt Lydia Tynan, passed on these many years ago. A miser. Murdered.
In this very house.
By someone searching for the gold she had hidden here. So now you understand why we must leave this house, and why no one will rent it when we are gone.
And yet Prudence sits with her.
Yes. I am sure that Aunt Lydia wants something, wants us to do something. Oh, though for the life of me I cannot imagine what. At least not yet.
But perhaps, if you found out, she might pass on peacefully, leave the house, and your family could return.
Would certainly lighten the financial blow.
And perhaps save that poor creature.
But how?
We might try to talk with her.
Oh, surely you will not attempt anything rash.
Why, man, a fellow may as well be picked off by a ghost as a bullet. What is there to be afraid of?
Easy to say now in the company of others, and in the broad light of day. But quite another by far to say that alone at night, and facing heaven knows what.
If it is known to heaven, I will not be afraid, and I shall not be alone. Prudence will accompany me, will you not?
Of course I will. The poor dear.
I do not think that is a good idea.
Why not? Do you not think I am made of stuff likely to remain in a haunted house and solve the mystery?
I have fought beside you in battle, my friend, and do not question your bravery. Though with the words you're saying today, perhaps I do have a private concern about your sanity.
A concern I might share, I must admit. But I do think in the end all will be well. How should we proceed, Prudence?
I do not know. Though Aunt Lydia at times passes the evening with me, she does not speak.
And besides, what experience do you have with matters of the supernatural?
Now that raises a good question. A fine question, in fact. What experience does Graham have with the supernatural? A blistery November wind blows over the rocky coast of Cornwall. Cloudy skies and dangerous surf surround the squire's lonely house, now abandoned by all except its mysterious owner. Nobody else stopped by the place, and who could blame them? Oh, the house still had its attractions, of course. Some say gold lay hidden away in the cellars, but none ever ventured to find it. The very children avoided playing there, and when the men were ploughing the field behind, nothing would make them stay in it once the day began to change. When the night was coming on, and the tide crept in on the sand, more than one had seen mighty queer things on the shore. Finally, the villagers brought the local priest to investigate.
I do not understand what the villagers are all so upset about.
Wait until you see what I am telling you, Father. Then you'll understand. He walks along the sand dunes, alone and silent.
Many have tried to talk to him, but he only shakes his head. He's a ghost, I tell you, a spirit.
We shall see about that presently.
Nobody can make out where he comes from or what he wants.
Now surely he is the ghost of some poor wretch lost on that shipwreck, whose body is today tossing about the head, longing for a snug corner in holy ground.
Well, if that be the case, I will go and comfort him.
As they walked to the top of the bluff, they saw a mysterious sight. A remarkable-looking man, tall and weathered, with matted hair and bony face, resembling the drowned crew now buried in the chapel graveyard, with rings in his ears and a strange kind of hat. Father Ryan approached and tried to make him respond.
Heaven be with you, my son.
But the spectre made no reply. In fact, he seemed a bit affronted by the greeting.
Is it a Christian burial you'll be wanting?
But the stranger only shook his head. No.
Is it word sent to those left behind that you'd like? To your wife and children now, orphaned and widowed?
Again, the stranger only shook his head.
Or has some sin you committed doomed you to walk these cliffs?
Perhaps he does not understand English, Father. Try him with Latin. That's the language of the afterlife, is it not?
No sooner said than done. The priest bowed his head and began praying in Latin. But the stranger simply shook his head and slowly walked away.
That set him off all right.
He's an evil spirit, I fear. But I will exorcise him. He will go.
But such was not the case. A short while later, the villagers noticed the stranger again walking along the shore. This time, however, he appeared approachable, even friendly.
Good evening, stranger. I hope you've had good travels this day.
Good enough, I reckon. These waters seem calm today, but that is not always the case, is it?
Not likely. You say the current's set. That is what makes it dangerous for them what doesn't know the coast, but bathe here at any time or walk when the tide is flowing.
Now look here, see how the sea is creeping in now, like a racehorse at the finish. It leaves that tongue of sandbars to the last, and then, before you can look around, it has you up to the middle.
But where you might be coming from, if you do not mind my asking? And where might you be going?
I come from a place where folks mind their own business, and none dare intrude on the affairs of others.
Main no disrespect, sir, but strangers rarely come among us.
Fact is, these are right deserted hills round here, away from the village. Naught around but the old squire's house.
The squire, eh? And what sort of man would you say he was?
I am not one to gossip, but folk around here call him a terrible man. Some say it is more on account of Squire Ennismore that the treacherous seas of that bay has such a bad reputation.
Is that a fact?
Fact or not, that is to be determined. To hear the locals describe him, you could not lay your tongue to a wickedness he has not been at the forefront of. Drinking, dueling, gambling.
All manner of sins had been meat and drink to him since he was a boy almost.
You do not say. Well, I have a hankering to make the acquaintance of your squire. I may find that we are congenial spirits. I myself have indulged in a drink of rum punch and a roll of the dice in my time.
That night, Squire Ennismore, who always scoffed when his servant mentioned the stranger, took it into his head he would go down and meet this fellow. Graham wrapped himself in a great coat, covered his head with his hat, and followed his father as he walked out towards the beach. The stranger came forward at the sight of them, took off his hat with a foreign flourish. Not to be behind in civility, Graham lifted his own.
I have come, sir, to know if you were looking for anything and whether I can assist you to find it.
The man looked at the squire as if he had instantly taken the greatest liking to him and bowed deeply.
Is it the vessel that was wrecked you are distressed about?
There came no answer, only a mournful shake of the head. No.
Well, I haven't your ship, you know. It went all to bits months ago.
And as for the sailors, they are snug and sound enough in consecrated ground.
The man stood and looked at them with a queer sort of expression on his face.
What do you want?
Perhaps he does not understand you.
Now the squire had tried him in English and French, and then started speaking a language you'd have thought nobody could understand.
But what's this?
The squire talked on, and by faith, the language came natural to the stranger.
So that's where you are from, is it? Why could you not have told me so at once?
I think you know the reason why.
Of course. Well, if anything belonging to you went down with the vessel, it's about the head you ought to be looking for it, not here. Less. Indeed, this is after the brandy you are fretting.
You have that right. A drink is all I ask, and perhaps you have something special you would like to share with a stranger?
To drink? I certainly do. Come along, and you shall have as stiff a glass of punch as ever crossed your lips.
Fine. Very fine indeed. I should like to raise a glass to your health.
My health. Well, then you shall.
And will your son join us? Of that brandy? Not on your life.
In this life or the next, it makes a fine drink.
I'll see you at dinner, father.
Graham turned and hurried off. In the process, a gust of wind blew his hat off his head. It rolled uneasily along the beach, coming to a stop near the waterline.
Come this way. We'll have us a tumble of brandy and talk about it.
And without more to do, off they went as sociable as you please, the stranger carefully holding Graham's hat. They jabbered together in some outlandish tongue that made folks' jaws ache to hear it. For weeks and weeks, the stranger and the squire drank and played cards together till cockcrow, talking and laughing into the small hours. This went on until the puncheon was near empty, and the squire had become almost as deathly pale as the stranger, looking older and thinner, with his flesh just wasting off him.
What do I know of the supernatural? More than I wish I did, that is for certain. And perhaps someday I will tell you about it, Brand. Perhaps someday I will. But for now, why do we not concentrate on settling your Aunt Lydia's affairs and returning you all to this family home?
The next night, Graham settled down in the empty house, empty, that is, of any living things, and prepared to spend the night. He and Prudence had planned to wait for the ghost together, but her youngest boy had hurt himself playing, and she had to put off the spectral adventure until the following night. Graham spent the evening sitting in the living room, listening for movement of any kind. Hours passed, and he heard nothing except the creaking of the old house and the wind in the alley blowing in the trees. Then suddenly...
But what's this? She comes!
Yes, he saw her, moving so slowly that she caught him off guard. Aunt Lydia inched across the floor, munching a dry crust of bread. She who could have purchased all the luxurious food that wealth can command. For here was a woman possessed of so pitiful a soul, contaminated with the most despicable and insidious vice poor humanity knows. For all other vices seem to have connection with the flesh, but the greed of the miser eats into the very soul.
But look there! She is not alone! That man!
Following the ghost came another spirit, dressed like Lydia, in the costume of days gone by.
But, Lydia, please, dear sister, my wife is unwell. The girls are all healthy, but our son, little Peter, well, you know he has ever been weak.
And what is all this to me, Charles? I did not make the world. What must be, must be. He giveth, and he taketh away.
I do not dispute the divine will, sister, but there are efforts to be made. A doctor for care, medicine for comfort, but alas, all these cost more than I can afford.
And how can I help? The little I have I need to live myself.
Oh, Lydia, how I wish I was talking to the beloved sister who stood by me long ago, when we were children running in the meadows beside the old mill, before accursed greed of gold had polluted your mind and divided us. But must my little one's hunger, must my little boy die?
These things are out of my hands, Charles. Out of my hands.
I cannot believe my eyes.
The ghost of the man had disappeared, and the ghost of the miser wended away upstairs. From below, Graham watched her toiling wearily from step to step. She had aged strangely since the previous scenes. She moved with difficulty. Graham followed her upstairs until she lay down in an old-fashioned four-poster bed, without hangings of any kind, a rickety washstand with all the paint worn off it, and the ancient mahogany mirror with its enormous sheet of glass. What a terrible sight she looked, with her thin white locks scattered over the pillow, with what were remnants of blankets gathered about her shoulders, with her claw-like fingers clutching the clothes, as though even in sleep she was guarding her gold.
Someone else is here. That sound! Who goes there? Two men! I must try to stop them!
And there they were. Even as Graham looked, there came stealthy footsteps on the stairs. He saw first one man, and then his fellow steal cautiously into the room. Another moment, and the pair stood beside Lydia's bed, murder in their eyes.
Aunt Lydia! Look out!
The poor woman started, only to receive a fatal blow from one of the ruffians. Then, with a gurgling scream, she fell back onto the bed, and in the same moment uttered a cry.
No! Stop, you villains! Let that poor woman alone!
Oh, my lost life. Oh, my lost life.
Master Graham! Master Graham! Sir, it's me, Molly. Let me in, sir. I've come with your breakfast.
Oh, leave her be, I tell you. Leave her be.
Master Graham! Master Graham! Sir!
Leave her, I tell you.
Calm yourself, sir. It's all right now. Please calm yourself.
Oh, Molly. Oh, is that you? I've been having a terrible dream, or nightmare, or vision, or... I do not know what to call it.
I understand, sir. Breathe deeply and calm yourself. Let me get some tea brewing and you'll feel a bit better in no time.
Thank you. Yes, tea. Though I wonder if I would rather have a glass of whiskey.
Now, none of that, sir. There's a time and a place for everything. It's not even 9 o'clock and you've not had your breakfast yet.
Of course. Tea, please. Still, after what I saw last night, you'd better make it really strong.
You can be sure that I will, sir. Have no worry about that.
A short while later, Graham calmed down as Molly served them both tea and biscuits.
So you had a rough night of it?
Aye, the old woman, and this time the murderers.
The murderers? How awful. I must say, I don't know why you put up with all of this. I think you might be better off returning to the Squire, going back home.
Home? Decidedly not.
Of course, nowadays people feel they must go their own ways, and sometimes that means disagreeing with them as raised them up. But still, as they say, blood is thicker than water.
Blood, you say? Oh, yes, blood. I will never go home again, not after what I saw.
Finally came one December night, on the eve of the Squire's birthday. There wasn't a drop of spirit left in the puncheon. No, not as much as would drown a fly. The Squire and the stranger had drunk the whole lot clean up. At midnight they walked together from the hall and stood outside looking at the desolate seaside. It was a full moon, and uncannily seemed as light as day.
Well, we have had a merry time of it, my friend. No one can doubt that. But the time has come.
That I know. My time has come.
And your son? You could not entice him to join us?
No, not him.
Young people often must go their own way. 'Tis true.
He'll not share the knowledge your master has to offer. But say no more about it. I'll go with you tonight by way of a change.
Will you go?
That I will.
It is your own choice, you know.
Yes, it is my own choice. Let us go.
So they went. Graham Coulton joined astonished villagers as they watched the Squire walk beside the strange man along these very sands and then out into the sea itself. The anguished son rushed into the water to save his father, but the Squire was too far gone. Squire Ennismore and the stranger walked on and on and on and on, till the water took them to their knees, and then to their waists, and then to their armpits, and then to their throats, and their heads, and they disappeared beneath the waves, and were gone. Living or dead, Squire Ennismore never came back again. Next morning, when the tides ebbed again, a villager walking over the sand saw the print of a cloven foot that he tracked to the water's edge. Then everybody knew where the Squire had gone. and with whom.
So you'll never return home again? What was it that you saw at the Squire's Hall?
Better that I not say, or dwell on it.
Brand and Prudence's son had suffered no serious injury, so that evening she and Graham prepared to spend the night in the house and engage with the ghost.
Then we have settled the matter. We are to make contact with the ghost and do what we must to set her free of this place.
I only hope we can learn what she would have us do.
During the whole of that evening and into the night, Graham and Prudence wandered through the house, searching diligently for some trace of the ghost, but she failed to appear. On the second floor they found one door locked, and thought perhaps that held some secret, but upon opening it found only a storage room with old furniture. It was nearly midnight when they rested near the fireplace in the living room. Suddenly, Graham felt a rush of cold air at his back.
But that's odd. Do you feel it?
Yes, a breeze. Where might it come from? Could there be an open window?
No, we have closed and locked all of them as we worked our way through the house, in case tonight brought a spot of rain.
Moving forward, they suddenly stopped. Another gust of wind extinguished Prudence's candle, and in the very moment of being left in darkness, they saw her.
What wondrous thing is this?
Wondrous indeed. For standing in the doorway, a woman resembling her who had haunted his dreams overnight.
I must touch her.
Oh, Graham, you cannot.
Ignoring her warning, Graham rushed with outstretched hands to seize Lydia, but clutched only air.
My fingers went right through her body. What magic confounds me so?
We must be patient. All will be well in time.
And then, in an instant, the old woman was gone.
Disappeared? Just like that? Impossible. And yet...
Graham relit his candle, and they both looked around the room. Not a sign of her.
It is very odd. Where has she gone? And what could have let in that breeze?
I cannot say. I am sure I fastened the windows upstairs when we searched that portion of the house. Graham, look here.
The ghost of Lydia appeared beside the antique mirror, lifted a hand in a welcoming gesture, and then, just as they darted towards her, disappeared.
She's gone.
The fire was not quite out, and at that moment shot up a last tongue of flame.
What is that?
They listened, too much frightened to do aught else. More and more distinct grew the sounds which had aroused them, a stealthy rustling coming nearer and nearer, up and up behind the wainscot.
Is it rats?
I thought I saw a light. The gleam of a candle or lamp through a crack in the wall panelling.
They turned to see the ghostly semblance wandering mournfully. Aunt Lydia flitted from the mirror to the fire, from the fire to the mirror. The horror of the silent house grew and grew upon them. Each could hear the beating of their hearts in the dead quietude which reigned from garret to cellar. And again the ghost of Aunt Lydia disappeared.
Again, that cold blast of air.
Despite all the windows being locked. How maddening.
Maddening indeed. Graham and Prudence stood hidden in the shadows when all of a sudden they saw a portion of the wall panelling open wide and two men sneak out from behind it. They stealthily walked out onto the landing.
A girl must be here somewhere.
She was a sly one, she was.
Too sly for you. You killed the old lady before we found it, you fool.
I was afraid she was going to scream.
You might have waited to ask her where she hid her riches. But wait, what's this?
Shh, quiet.
Look here, I tell you, someone's here.
The thief had just made out the shadowy profile of Graham as he stood against the wall.
You there! Stop! Grab him!
The two thieves rushed Graham, but failed to notice Prudence. The first thief held Graham firmly by the arm, while his partner struggled to push him to the floor. The retired sailor, though, gave as good as he got, and proved a worthy match against his two oppressors.
Let me go. Not likely, mate. Not likely.
If I was you, I'd prepare for a long dog's sleep, I would. Give him the knife. Come along.
Not so fast, you monsters! Ah!
From deep in the shadows, Prudence leapt into the middle of the room. She stood before the two men, separating them and their deadly blades from Graham. Then she raised her arms high overhead, clutching in her hands an enormous frying pan from the fireplace. A cook might have used it to prepare dinner for a family of 4, but in Prudence's hand it dispensed not gravy, but justice.
Oh no! She's caught me!
Take that, you fiend!
Left and right, up and down, Prudence swung wildly.
She's a fury, I tell ya! A blaming fury!
I'll take my chances with the law, I will. It's that consul of hers I'm afeard of now.
As Prudence swung, she knocked the larger of the men off his feet and into the enormous mirror against the wall. The struggle between good and evil was not a long one. The powerful blows of Prudence's frying pan gave Graham a moment to steady himself. Then both faced the two killers, forcing them into the hallway where they tried to escape, to no avail. In a few moments the murderers were apprehended. Attracted by the commotion, some neighbours and the officers of the constabulary appeared. Near the door, a policeman stiffly kept guard. People crowded the hall to see what had happened.
Come along, you two. There's a fine establishment waiting for you both, where you could spend a bit of time, I dare say.
But only a wee bit of time, mind you, and no longer than it takes for the justices meet and arrange for you to meet old Jack Ketch.
The constables conveyed the two murderers to the station house, one on a stretcher, his head dreadfully injured by his confrontation with Prudence, the other handcuffed and uttering frightful imprecations as he went. After a while the house was cleared of the neighbours. Graham and Prudence finally had a moment to collect their thoughts.
Are you all right?
Right as rain. That is a mighty swing you have there.
Some say a woman's place is in the kitchen, but I tell you true, there are many things one may learn in the kitchen beyond cooking.
But tell me, during the fight, what was that dreadful noise?
I do not know. Better return inside and see.
Graham followed Prudence as they hurried into the living room. There on the floor lay the enormous antique mirror. In the struggle it had toppled over and was lying all over the floor, shivered into 1,000 pieces.
But what's this?
Gold pieces!
Hundreds of them. These had cost poor Aunt Lydia Tynan her life. And now that her secret had been discovered, perhaps Lydia's riches could relieve the suffering of the living and ease the conscience of the dead. But that's not all.
Why, what's this?
My hat! Now how in heaven's name did it end up in there?
How indeed. Though perhaps not in heaven's name, after all. You have been listening to The Ghost of Vauxhall Walk with Michael Cogan, Gregory Dwyer, Jason Greenwood, Maggie Hughes, John Martin, Carter McQueen, Kate Williams Olenski, and Sarah Jane Wing. The Ghost of Vauxhall Walk, adapted from short stories by Charlotte Riddell by Arnold Anthony Schmidt, directed by Julia Warren, and sound engineered by Raymond Menke and Julia Warren.